Hi, and welcome to the SpitFire Enterprise software. This video is going to demonstrate how to import a list via the SpitFire Enterprise Manager application. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the Manager console, and you'll notice that we have a section that says List for import or open. Now, you need to also make sure that you don't select the DNC import or open if this is just a regular list you're importing. If this is a list that you need to import as a no-call list to scrub against regular lists, that would use the DNC section. But in this case, we're just going to use the list section, and we're going to select the import from this. So from the import section of the list, we're going to highlight the import, and we're just going to select that. This will open up the list import window. And this is where we can select our file that we want to import as a list. There are two ways to import a file. The one way is by uploading a new file, which is what I'm going to demonstrate. And the second way is choose a file that you've already imported previously and you want to import that as a new file. So in my case, I'm going to select Upload a New File, and then I'm going to click on the Browse tab. This is going to give me a window to my computer, and I have this file on my desktop, and it is called Import. I'm just going to select Import, and now when I do select my file, there is a drop-down arrow where I can select either a text file or a CSV file. My format is an extension of a TXT. If it was a CSV, which is a comma-separated value, I would select that. If you have a file, when you look for it and you're not seeing it, it could be that it does not have either one of these two types of extensions. So let's take an example. If you have a file created in Excel, and when you go to this import, you don't understand why because you're not seeing it, it could be because it does not have the right extension. So you need to reopen that up in Excel. And then when you go to file of type for saving, you want to make sure that you save it as a CSV file. So in this case, I'm going to select my import, click open, and that way I have now the file that I want to import. The second option I need to select from is the field delimiter. This is going to tell the system if it is a comma formatted file, meaning that the different names are separated by a comma, or tab delimited, which means that it's actually more in columns as opposed to a comma. So my file is in a comma formatted file, and because this is the very first time I'm uploading this file, I'm going to be given the option to start upload. If this was choosing an existing file, all I would have to do is go through the same process, but I wouldn't have the start upload available because it's already been uploaded. So I'm going to select start upload. We're now going to move to the mapping of the fields. When you look at my screen, on the left side are the field names that are in my text file that I'm importing. On the right side will be the corresponding fields that I want to import into the list. Now, you'll see there's an existing template, and this will allow you, if the format is going to be the same, to select a pre-existing template that will automatically map those fields for you. If this is the first time you're doing an import of this particular format, then you'll need to map it manually. And all that requires is by selecting the description on the left and highlighting it, and then select the corresponding description on the right. So all you have to do is literally map your fields. In this case, I've already created a template, so the system knows all the fields that I want to bring in, including any custom fields. These custom fields are the fields that are created in the campaign itself, and I can select it on import. Once you've selected your fields or selected the pre-existing template that you have, and you've got all of that ready to go, the next step is just clicking on the next tab to move on the import. Now, the very first option is eliminate bad numbers. Now, this doesn't mean it knows it's a good number or a bad number, but more it's in the phone length. So if this number is in US, Canada, or Puerto Rico, we know that the phone number length needs to be 10. Again, no guarantee it's a good number. If this was an international campaign, of course you wouldn't limit it to 10. The second option is for duplicate numbers. This is telling the software to please check the phone number against any other phone numbers within the same list so that it's only importing one phone number of that particular number. The third option is for combining first and last name. And this just means that if in your data file the first and last name are separated, it'll combine it so that when the agent gets a screen pop, they'll be together. The second option on the import here is the DNC scrub. DNC stands for your do not call lists that are imported into the system that you want to scrub against. The do not call scrubbed list is not tied directly to any do not call website or service. These are the numbers that you import into the system that you want to scrub against. This option allows you to check against all lists you've already imported or specific lists that you want to scrub against. The third option is the list scrub. What this tells the software, I know you're checking for duplicate numbers within the current list, but I may have imported 100 lists previously, and I want to make sure that this new data I'm bringing in, I haven't imported it previously. Once I've selected, my next step is just to click on the Next tab on this list import. I'm now ready to move on to the next Import tab. This is the file name that I want this list to be imported as. Now we have two options here. The one option is, which is what I'm going to be doing, is actually creating a brand new list. But if I was appending, meaning adding to an existing list, I could select the existing list option, click on the drop down arrow, and I would see all the lists that I've already imported into the system. But in this case, I'm going to be creating a new list, so I'm just going to check on the New List tab. So we are going to call this Import, and I'll just use today's date for the file name. Once I'm ready to import, I then just select the Import tab, and now it's going to give me an overall progress and summary of what the import. So if you look here under my import status, it shows me the total number of records in this list. It's also going to show me that there was one bad number, and in this case it really wasn't a bad number, it was a header, so it wasn't a phone number within that header. Duplicate numbers tells me that there were 4 numbers within the list that were duplicates. No call scrubbing is just telling me that of the numbers I've got into my internal no call list, there were none that affected this particular import. So my total number to scrub was 1, and my final insert is 1. I can print this as a summary, or I can just click on the done, and now I'm complete.